look, I know I've been doing the Shad angry eye thumbnails a lot, but the reason is because there's legitimate stuff that I'm reacting to. There's like, holy crap, this is stupid. And I thought going into this, look, there's probably nothing astronomically dumb to use. We'll use a different thumbnail this time, so we won't get... Now I have to because of this. It's like, what is going on here? Welcome back to The Watch. And Nathan, a new Rings of Power.
Another one?
Yeah, but this isn't a teaser. This is the trailer.
We're finally getting a trailer.
This is
we'll get context this time.
Big stuff. So we are going to check it out, give you our thoughts and reactions. But there might be some preamble to begin with. First and foremost, if you like what we do here, any support that you'd be willing to offer is tremendous. So just watching is absolutely wonderful. Liking, commenting helps boost the recommendations in the algorithm. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, sharing and supporting us on Utreon, which is a new video hosting platform, which is really good. And then there is Subscribestar and Patreon as well. All the supporters mean the world to us. Thank you so much. It really does help us out, become more independent and free from the shackles of YouTube. So, Rings of Power. A couple of things that I've noticed or seen in my news feed. There's been other promotional kind of things surrounding the trailer, like interviews with the showrunner, and done by, fake fans like Patton Oswalt and who's the guy that played Wesley Crusher?
I have no idea.
Yeah, he's so pointless and irrelevant. We don't even remember his name. He's also a jerk, that guy. Like, top-tier jerk. And he's just begging to get given roles again in Star Trek and things. Will Wheaton, is that it? Yeah, that's right, because Family Guy did that. Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton. So, yeah, there's interviews like that. And they've turned off comments on the... Because they've been getting destroyed. Cowards.
It's like they can't even take just a quote from Tolkien.
I know.
Literally.
It's so true. And so the backlash is real, right? And on top of this, they're hiding comments, and now we're in the all right, damage control mode. We've made this, we've co-opted this beloved property for our own agenda to try and misguided attempts to make it their own thing, also thinking it would be really successful, and it's not. The fan backlash is huge, so now they're trying to hide that agenda, and that's my impression from this trailer. Okay, and also there's like a interview that I'd like to go through from the showrunner, where the showrunner's like, "Oh no, it's not political," even though there are statements like.
It's a bit late for that.
He says it's not political, but there are statements of people saying we need this world to reflect our world. It's like there are overt statements that they're making it political, and now the showrunner's like, it's not. So they're lying. They're lying, and the key theme takeaway of this new trailer: don't be fooled. The last teaser we looked at was crap. This one, to the untrained eye, I think, is looking better, but that's on purpose. They're not showing a lot of the subversive crap, and it actually shows some of the story. So we'll get into it and have a look at this new trailer.
We thought the war.
So it starts off pretty, trying to... That's a lot of help.
That's a big army.
Who made that pile? Look how tall she is. Well,
she did.
But how did she get to the top?
She climbed the other ones.
But then there'll be like trails knocking down, like.
Yeah, then she fixed it up around the edges. It's a little helmet sand castle.
She was on the bottom and she was like, oh, I missed, sorry. Oh, this one still had the head in, sorry.
You've not seen what I have seen. A giant helmet.
It took me so long to pile up that pile of helmets, Elrond. You have no idea. You weren't there. I was like, this is comically dumb. And if you just take half a second and just go, hang on, was a giant helping them make this pile? Or did she literally...
Who would even take the time to do this?
I don't mind, as a memorial, as a sign of all the death, but they're trying to get something meaningful and they have not considered practicality at all to the point now it looks comically dumb, ruining any dramatic tension that they want. And oh my goodness, Nathan, this is the opening scene of this trailer.
Yeah. Gosh, you pause it for a second and you take a little think, and then you realise,
Oh dear.
4 seconds in.
4 seconds in. I'm just wondering, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this trailer will be as incompetent as the last one. I only did a casual view through, and so just taking half a second to even pause and think about what we're seeing, it's like. And I'm wondering, this again shows the skill and competence of the people behind it. No one at any point pause and say, "How did she make the pile? How did she get it on top?" And I don't mind her making it more. It would be more impactful. Maybe she got sticks and put the helmet on each sleeve, and you had this massive field of just grave sites. And instead of having a cross, they have the helmet there of the deceased.
Yeah. I thought that would be way more impactful. There's more space to it as well. Yeah. Where they're all clustered into a big ball. It's a lot, but it kind of looks very good. It reminds me of when people make the biggest yarn ball in the world, the biggest elastic band ball. She's making the biggest helmet ball in Middle Earth.
I'm worried when she puts the helmet there, she actually knocks one, causes an avalanche, just rolls all over her.
It's a comedy.
Oh no! Stub already.
Last was ended.
So the war at last was ended. Her accent just look, maybe this is overly nitpicky, but her accent seems a little put on there. Don't know. Also, look, I have not read the Silmarillion. Doesn't discount our views of the impact of what is being conveyed in the trailer. All right. I really appreciate lore experts helping us down in the comments.
And commenters have said that they're happy for us because it's less pain for us knowing what they've ruined.
But I've picked up things from people who are into the lore.
Yeah.
Like that Galadriel didn't fight in the first age, and this is showing the aftermath of the battle of the first age. And so, again, warrior Galadriel. My girl Galadriel. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
The fan, where people were not commenting on this looks great or story or everything else. It's like diversity, and hey, there's a female in there. Go girls! That's your standard? Oh, no wonder they have incompetent people working on this.
That's that little smirk right there. They're just
I remember the Wheel of Time. Never forget the Wheel of Time. And it's been renewed we got renewed for a third season. Part of me is upset, but part of me is overjoyed because they will just roast it. And so it's all right, dig your own grave. We're here to help you.
Today, our days of peace begin.
Look, good visual, okay? I don't mind. They could have started it with this and none of the dumb things. Even the armor looks half decent here. It's these big pauldrons. Doesn't look elvish, not really, but I don't mind. I like the integration of the armor with the robes. Look at these side things. People say that. So see these side robes? Here they are. See those things here hanging down on the side. People say they're tassets. And it's hang on. Tassets usually hang under a fold and is more in front. Just having thigh guards without a full fold. It's dumb design. It's a fantasy thing. Anyway, that's my overly nitpicky medieval side.
We thought our joys would be...
So this is where we get to they don't let them fool you. They're showing pretty visuals here. They're showing a bit of a narrative to the trailer this time. It's the war is over and we thought everything was peaceful, so at least they have a narrative here. Don't be fooled. We've seen the incompetence on display already. And we've seen it in the first scene in this trailer, even though maybe it's starting to pick up now. But that get fooled that you think this is going to be the show then. Because they're aware of the backlash and they're trying to hide it.
This would be unending. We thought our light would never dim.
The skies are strange.
Yeah, I don't know, skies are strange. It feels a bit put on.
you need a British person to be playing hobbits or people who are
He
descendants.
is a British person.
He is?
Yes, he's a famous British comedian. Well, not so famous anymore, because you clearly don't know who he is. It feels like he's pushing the accent.
Yeah.
A strain.
Might be the director being like, give me more Brit, more Brit.
And it just brings up the whole half-foot hobbit bullcrap where they're not supposed to be in this age. Oh, we see the... And was that Don Lemon elf? I think it was. Yeah, he's the almost bald head, but not bald head. So, Gondor, bit dark, hard to see. So we see the Queen of Gondor. I've seen artistic depictions of her because this line of kings, they had a certain appearance that was, let's say, ethnically representative of the region that Tolkien was making a mythology around.
Right, yep.
And so it's like, yeah, we're not being political, but we'll change things for political, reasons to appease certain, tick boxes. And, okay, so pay attention to, I guess, who knows what the problem is. So we all right, the trailer's established. War, we think that it's going to be peace forever. Skies are now strange. Saw a meteorite. Who is going to be aware that bad is going to happen now?
It is here, Galadriel. The moment we feared.
So will anyone else be figure out bad is coming? So quick flashes, the crying elf, that guy that we saw there. Who's she crying over? Is that her husband? The husband that was alive in was it alive in Lord of the Rings? But I assumed that there's a husband that was alive with her in Lord of the Rings that they're trying to say, because she's supposed to have a husband in this period as well, I believe.
Right.
Law people, let me know. And I've heard that they've killed him off. Can't have a husband get in the way of the girl power.
See, my first instinct was, it's a vision maybe she's seeing to manipulate her. Maybe Sauron's doing stuff to be like, doing a whole Anakin Padme type relationship, because, they're not original with that stuff either. But you could be right. They could just kill him off because she needs to be independent. But she's sad about it, at least.
Loosely based. Not like it's just very vaguely referenced to the works of Tolkien.
Because what did Peter Jackson say with his movies? Did he say they were based on the works of Tolkien, or did they?
I don't know. Adapted, but it was a straight adaptation of Lord of the Rings. So yeah, this looks like the I forget the Numenorians. That's it.
Evil does not sleep.
Oh, so she knows. So again, Elrond was one of the guys. Elrond was one of the guys that did a lot of the fighting in the actual books and everything. We saw in the teaser, and Elrond is like, "The war is over," and so they've completely flipped on it. Where Galadriel was supposed to be a pacifist, in the first age or something, and it was Elrond doing the hard hitting. But this one is more subtle. And in isolation, I wouldn't have noticed it, okay? Because if you just take a movie or a series on its own, it's like, hey, has a female lead who's seeing the bad things, that's fine. Because of what's happening in the world, it's more overt. You can see, it's like, I wonder why they made some of the strong male characters either dead or weak, or villains, but the female characters are now the smart ones. They know what's up. It's like... again, if it was in isolation, it's subtle enough that I wouldn't... But now, because of larger, it's just, we see it. We can see what you're doing. And we've already seen the images of Galadriel man-spreading and butchifying and making... Because her femininity wasn't enough. Her being a woman wasn't strong enough. They actually disdain traditional female traits. And it's like, now we've got to make them like men. So the queen is... this guy... So this guy's getting memed heaps.
I love it. Was a My Chemical Romance fan, Eminem.
So, people have been assuming this is Sauron. I have it on authority that I trust. This is not Sauron. And who like Nerdrotic is like he I think he might even had like a early press copy of the show. I saw him tweet something about this, but he isn't dropping any spoilers. But clearing up misconceptions that this isn't Sauron. The theory, I haven't confirmed this, that this is actually a corrupted elf who wants to bring back the evil or whatever. Seems to make sense because they seem to have gone out of their way to cover his ear, to create speculation and everything. Like that thing, the cloth that he's wearing, is really oddly positioned. It's either on your head, as a shawl or something, or around your neck. It's halfway up.
Covering the ears,
Just to
but you
cover
can
the
see his
ears.
face still. Yeah.
So it seems very intentional that they wanted to try and trick people that, this is Sauron, but then we'll subvert your expectations or something. When we can see he's just trying to cover his ears to hide that he's an elf. Seems like that. But if that was Sauron, what an awful... Alright, so I'm going back.
It waits.
Beyond the darkness, tempting shadow, to bury us all beneath the mountain.
Okay, so the dwarves seem to know what's up, Actually, though, I think they're referring to a different evil. Because remember the... have you seen this before?
Yeah.
The tease at the very, very end?
Vaguely.
The Balrog.
Oh, yeah.
So I reckon he's referencing...
Balrog.
Durin's Bane. That's not supposed to be uncovered for a long time yet. It's supposed to happen much later, according to the lore that I've read people say. So they're just trying to cram in things from different periods.
Shadow, to bury us all beneath the mountain.
It's cool, at least I got to see dwarves, I mean. It's like, dwarves were conspicuously absent from the D&D trailer. Well, maybe we'll do our own Night's Watch response from that. I've had a look at, my views of the fantasy stuff on Shadiversity. Might be stuff to comment on here on Night's Watch about the D&D trailer. Cheetos Gladriel.
He has not one name, but many.
She knows what's up, people.
Have you heard of him, lad? Have you heard of Sauron?
So, this I don't actually get. With the vague, small lore I know of this age, right? Sauron wasn't known to be a big boogeyman bad guy. He was the bringer of gifts. And this is the part that's called Rings of Power. This is the thing of how he subverts forgings of Rings of Power because other people actually started to make them. And I think that all people can correct me on this part, that he kind of stole the idea to make Rings of Power of other people and then started corrupted and stuff. Correct me. Read the comments if you want people to double check that one. But Sauron wasn't the boogeyman from Lord of the Rings at this point. And so then he's like, have you heard of the man? Have you heard of Sauron? And he's saying it's like it's this big evil boogeyman. It's like...
Maybe they're subverting it. He's like, I need presents, and I heard he's got some good presents.
Exactly. Sauron. He's like Santa Claus if you just, bring your goodies.
That poor kid's like, I don't know what's going on.
Just look on my arm. Creep.
Have you heard of him, lad? Have you heard of Sauron?
See, that delivery, have you heard of Sauron? Is like, unless this is near toward the end of the first season where he's starting to become the bad guy, and just... And then, when they're saying, have you heard of me, heard of Sauron, the very next scene shows this this is trying to show that this is Sauron.
Yeah.
When I thought Sauron actually wasn't supposed to be a boogeyman at this point. Yeah, this sword starts to reforge. It's like, yeah, for fantasy, yeah. Like if there's wasted things, wasted spikes, which are kind of pointless. You could maybe trap, but if it's fantasy material, you can kind of get away with it. I'm on the fence of this sword design.
If the evil rising is left unchecked.
Yeah, so this is where Galadriel is the one who knows the evils, and she's the one who's going to be finding it out.
It will take us all.
This one just confused me, like, a lot. Can you see what I see, Nathan?
Wait, so he's holding a torch.
A torch.
Is that a sword, or is... What is he holding?
It looks like an arrow, but maybe it's a sword.
Because my first impression was that he had his
Yes,
bow
that
and arrow
is-
drawn.
This is the stairs of like trying to draw a bow.
But no, maybe he's...
But that's actually not a bow. It's a torch.
Yeah.
And if it's an arrow, it's resting on the wrist, not the knuckle. So it must be a sword, but it's so confusing and poorly shot. Like maybe in the actual show, they'll have like a front-on angle where we see the sword, and then when we see it on the side, it makes sense. But this again goes into the people making the trailer and how much talent and observation they actually have what they're clipping together. Because they're trying to just look at the trailer in isolation to the what might contextualize this stance or pose. You would get the impression, like, because we see a person with a bow behind him.
Yeah.
And then we see this person here looks to be holding a bow as well. And so the impression is they're all supposed to be holding bows. Then this is an arrow. Where's the bow? What is the arrow doing? And it's just confusing. Just, this is a really bad shot. And then they're unaware of it. And they put it into the trailer thinking, yeah, it looks great, because they probably know the context where the sword is seen. But I had to take multiple takes, like checking, to figure out that's probably a sword. But what a retarded pose and stance for a sword. I'm gonna have my torch here, rest my sword on the thing like that. Like, which idiot came up with that stance? That's not a readied stance. He's holding a torch in front of him. That would blind your vision. And like when you have a bright light in front of you, right?
It's hard to see.
Your
Yeah.
eyes adapt to the bright light, and you can't see any of the darkness behind it. And so an actual stance of a torch and sword, you would hold the torch above your head and you have the sword out in front ready. That's...
You know, I reckon they are trying to do what they're doing in cop shows with the gun, pistol, and the torchlight underneath.
So dumb.
Doesn't work in medieval context with a sword.
Retarded. My goodness. I was wondering, like, so... Look, I know I've been doing the Shad angry eye thumbnails a lot, but the reason is because there's legitimate stuff that I'm reacting to. There's holy crap, this is stupid. And I thought going into this, look, there's probably nothing astronomically dumb to use. We'll use a different thumbnail this time, so we won't get... Now I have to because of this. It's like, what is going on here? I'm going to have to be like, what the crap is that? Oh my goodness. And again, competence. People, who is making this crap? It takes us 2 seconds to notice some of the astronomically dumb moments in this, and this passed multiple quality checks. Not only that, they thought this was some of the best stuff to tease the show, and they put it in. And then going back even before that, the people actually filming who's making the sense is, yeah, remember how cops do this? We'll do it with a sword, won't that be cool? When it's absolutely retarded. You're blinding yourself, you can't see it, you have your arm in the way of your sword, so you can't have a proper defensive stance with it. It's all retarded. It's layers of stupid right here in a single scene.
It really is.
Oh, my goodness. So hang on. Maybe we get to see the sword.
Maybe get a frame.
We're going to go back. So, but not the sword. But he's holding a sword there.
Okay, so it was a sword.
I think it is safe to say it was a sword, but it's not in the same pose though.
No.
And again, they're holding the torches in front. It's like, have they not what? Lloyd has a video of torches that has a lot of views. I have a video of torches that I think is over 1 million views. If you just looked up medieval torches, let's just check. Let's just check, okay? The most basic kind of research you could do. We'll go to Google and we'll go medieval torches. It's like, okay. Oh, look at that! First video recommendation is mine. Second is Lloyd's of Lindy Pages, where we both describe holding torches in front would just light blind you. You hold them up like this. Oh my goodness! They couldn't even bother doing a freaking Google search! Triggers me, Nathan.
I could tell.
Freaking triggers me. And then some ice rock gets
Crushes.
thrown. So this guy should just be flat out dead, or his legs shattered. It's a boat being blown up. Like, hang on, is this an explosion? It is. Look at the... Do they have gunpowder? What's called? Like, this either has to be magic, or they have some type of explosive material. Oil doesn't explode like this. Like,
Nah, Shad, it's oil barrels.
so it's an elven lost technology thing.
Find the light, and the shadow will not find you.
So this seems to be Sauron by the context they brought before.
Because you got orcs
But
there
if
as
it's
well.
like a regular guy wearing creepy armor, maybe. Okay, maybe. It's not like the monstrous Sauron who doesn't have human form except in monstrous-y kind of way. Weird goblins with weird headgear. Or are they evil? We don't know, actually. Can't see now.
Together we can.
So, I have been told, it's not really a spoiler because it's actually available, I think you look up, that this might be Sauron.
Really?
Yeah, this guy might actually be Sauron. Bringer of gifts. And does that make sense to the lore? I think it does. Let us know in the comments. Armor. Look, they're not real. These ones, is it studded? But that's more like these are ornamental kind of little things. Shield a bit small for a spear and shield guy, but if helmet is very Anglo-Saxon looking, more in line with what you saw the Rohirrim wear. Not sure if it's the same culture as the Númenóreans, because this looks distinctly different in aesthetics to some of the other armor that we saw them wearing, except for maybe the blue robes. Don't know.
Together we can survive this.
Okay, so another
Together we can survive this.
Another girl power saying, rallying the people. Like, has there been a single strong male character in the trailer so
Even
far?
the poor elf's getting sidelined.
I know. Like, I thought they were going to make Don Lemon elf really, like, be strong, but he's getting sidelined. Only the dwarves actually showed something bad's about to happen, but that's kind of an exception so far.
This.
I don't mind this sword. It looks all right. Yeah, I like that sword. That's a decent one. So these look like those giant swords that we saw Galadriel wearing on her back. This to me is the most high elven looking shot that actually gives me elven feels.
Yeah.
Out of the trailer so far. And I don't mind big swords. I like big swords, and I cannot lie. And even if they have really big handles, sometimes you need that big behind on the handle, you know.
A big pummel.
Yep, wrap your hand around that big pummel. Gotta grip it, get a good...
Fight with me.
So, alright, look, I just can't judge. People have been criticising this as awful green screen. It looks like, to me, I think it looks fine.
I think the issue I found a lot is that Hollywood just keeps doing the same visual effects, using the same techniques, and they're not doing practical anymore, and everything looks fake to us now.
You know, you're right, though. If I do look, it looks like probably polished green screen, but it doesn't look real. Maybe I'm just used to accepting, hey, a green screen is like a fantasy-looking thing. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't look real, does
Like, if they went to New Zealand and filmed this, maybe put some, a bridge in the background with visual effects, it would look so much better.
I think you're right.
But everything looks very staged because it's all in the studio. You don't get any natural lighting in these shots anymore.
She is holding the sword. See that sword there? That was in the previous shot. So I'm going to go backwards. We need to go back even further.
Together we can survive this.
That sword. So the sword is getting passed around a bit. Is it a special sword? It seems like it, but like it seems like some random, farmer is holding it there. Galadriel had those big swords in it before, but now she's got that. That's that sword. I recognise swords, people. I have things to say about her armour. I think I'm going to save that for a dedicated Shadiversity video. In this armour specifically, there are issues. It's actually a number of issues. In some areas, it could have worked really well if they just tweaked a couple of things. In other areas, it makes me go, what is actually going on? Again, check out the Shadiversity video. That'll come out a bit later. I'm thinking of actually just maybe doing a live stream of the Rings of Power armour and weapons.
That'd be good. It'd be fun.
It would be fun. On Shadiversity. Then we see this stuff that the guys are wearing, okay? And what I see, this actually looks like, it looks crappy in low budget scales. It looks like these scales are leather, not metal, because they're actually curving. You can see the scales curving, but this doesn't look like it's printed this time. Whereas we, like, that doesn't...
Down there, is that...
I think it might change. I think it ends here.
Okay.
And then it goes to regular, some type of cloth. But you can actually see the scales kind of folding and popping up a bit here and there, and which I find interesting because they had the promotional image that was definitely printed.
And they could have photoshopped that.
Yeah, they really could have.
Could have gotten rid of that.
But these scales look really cheap. Like, not metal. You can see it curving. See how the scales curve down and are bending and warping? Looks like cheap dress leather, or even foam, right? Thin foam, which is not armor. It looks like utter crap.
Fight with me.
Fight with me. Some guy wearing... Is that ring mail? Holy crap. Look, ring mail's dubious as is. One of the reasons it's like, it's really not good armor. See the size of those rings?
Yeah.
A nice acute sword would get that far through the ring before it stopped anything with a thrust, and they're so spaced apart that there's chances that you could cut in between the rings. It's crap! Fantasy crap. I think you know where I think it comes from? Right? I think it comes from terminology. I think people call chainmail ring mail sometimes because it's made out of actual rings.
Right, and then
the
they
name
assume...
gets carried on, and then they think ring mail. Well, what if we actually? Oh, it must be made out of rings, and then we get that crap.
I'm making predictions here. I think that person gave her the sword.
Yeah.
Because they kind of had the clothy... I mean, I could be reading this too much, but I also think that it's going to be Sauron. The guy that's shown up.
Maybe.
I think he's going to somehow collaborate with him, like, I'm going to help you with the evil, and then at the end be like, haha, I am the evil!
He's doing some type of Palpatine thing where he raises an army for people to fight, and then he pretends to fight them to get power and stuff.
But she's too smart for that, though, as well. I don't think she...
Oh, yeah, she went full for it. So there we get the elf guy. He jumps from a really, really high thing. Look, elves are weightless, but when even Legolas did stuff like that, I was looking at, what height have we actually seen Legolas jump from? Because that was like superhero heights of stuff then. And he just kicks a massive boulder, which would be heavy as, oh my goodness. Maybe if at the very top you might be able to just knock it down, but I don't know, for me, maybe put your shoulder into it or something, makes it feel like it's just a foam block. What are they trying to convey there? He kicks a single block, okay, and then they cut to this avalanche. Little block going, then cut to avalanche. Are they trying to say that they started an avalanche by kicking a block, or is it just poorly considered cuts? And also, like, what is particularly cool about that? Right? Let's go back.
Fight with me.
Fight with it. So I can understand them trying to do that. This guy jumping off with something really high. Then he kicks a block of stone. My goodness, it's epic.
You're right, and he turns around and does it, which makes it less cool. If he had like jumped down and sprinted or done something, action pose.
And if we saw why is it important for him to knock the stone, and then it cuts to an avalanche, like, hang on, you're saying that one block caused an avalanche? You're not showing us how that it might have hit some loose rocks before that release more, and they hit more, and then just avalanche because okay. They just love the crappy scale mail here, don't they? My goodness. And look, not a fan of the crown, but if it's just ornamental, and because there's a image of her on a horse, and she's got like a helmet with the spikes. I'm saying because something for battle and warfare, I'd rarely seen anything that impractical from historical context. And if they did have something ornamental thing, it would be fur that wouldn't actually get locked in or knocked aside of things. Or if it was in a joust, sometimes they had really elaborate crests on their helmets in jousting and stuff. But battle?
Tropes.
It's the Dorito lady.
She's, she's singing. Okay, she's singing. So we see some other dwarven women here. Oh, there's no beard there. No beard there. And they don't even really have sideburns here.
But if look at the women, and then this poor guy here has the biggest nose.
Yeah. Now, amongst these dwarves, I'm just saying, one of them does not look like the others. And, all right, if you're wanting to have your diversity, you wouldn't want to make it stand out, make it seem so odd. Wouldn't there be at least a bit more of a mix then, which would not marry the law, but then if you only have one, makes it look really like a token, and then it just doesn't make sense, like, where did she come from? What culture is like...
At least try to explain it in the law, where she showed up and how she became into that leadership position. If they don't explain anything...
It's just...
It's going to be like... Okay. It's not political, respect
I mean, it's like...
Then explain it, so in the world it makes sense.
Just the scene, I'm just saying, one does not look like the... What are they trying to say? Oh, God.
Each of us must decide
out of context dwarf holding thing.
who
These are now just kind of random out of context shots that's not really driving or supporting the narrative that the trailer's trying to say.
we
Just
shall
music and, shot of people doing random things, not fighting, not preparing.
Inspirational quote.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, he's looking very intently at another woman. What is this to do with what the trailer's trying to say or talk about?
be.
Horse charge. So I've been told that the Numenorians had a proud and illustrious cavalry. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. I still get Gondorian vibes from it, and it feels like they're just like, hey, you remember the horse charges from Lord of the Rings? We got horse charges. We're going to be just like, make your own impressive visuals. Don't copy everything else. We see like the climbing on the ice wall from Game of Thrones. We see horse charge from other Lord of the Rings. We see also this big red power explosion thing. People like looked at like it was out of a Marvel film. Why are you drawing a sword now? And it's that same sword. Same sword appeared.
Must decide who we shall be.
Yeah, they got spears. They're all wearing that bad chainmail. I wonder who this guy is. It's just like a random guy not wearing armor, and there's all the armor. And yeah, so same sword. You see that there is the same sword.
Yep, that's the sword.
It's a sword. Goblins, because there's goblins in here. So remember how we saw her on the boat and everything? So now we get to see there's like a sea monster that's actually causing it. See the sea monster in the background? This whole because interesting creatures in Middle Earth.
There can be no trust between hammer and rock.
I think the dwarves are the most authentically depicted at the moment, except for, of course, the beards. And then where does this other dwarf come from? Because she doesn't like it. Look, if they're going to do it, they need like a race of darker skinned dwarves. That's but all right, so this is where we see one of those bad sets. It just doesn't look good. Like,
there's no weathering to it.
Yeah, it's just it looks low budget. I'm just interested. Hang on, like this is like Royal Guard things. Just what are they wearing on their feet? They just decide they'll wrap cloth around with leather straps on their feet because,
because it invokes fantasy.
Where are their greaves? Where are they? They're wearing scale everywhere else. Like, let's get some things to match. But okay, all right. See, I reckon he looks. Hey, that's a cool looking dwarf. Dwarves again. Don't let it. I'm not letting it fool me. Even with half decent visuals, where I think, hey, there's a cool looking dwarf, because they're trying to hide all the issues.
Eventually, one or the other.
Okay, so I was wondering who. I thought this guy might have been Sauron. People are saying he could be some type of wizard, but wizards shouldn't be in this age. I believe. So I think. But then there's see right here.
Oh yeah, there's...
that looks like a little one walking into the flame. It's like flame, little one.
One or the other.
And then there, Is that the half foot?
Yeah, it is.
Ah.
She's gonna go find the crash site.
Yep. So that's how they're going to inject half-foots, I'm mentioning the story. They're going to find the meteorite person.
Yep.
And they'll be so innocent, naive, and accepting. They'll help him out. And if it's Sauron, he'll be, like, manipulating him and all that. There's the elf. Oh, I was wondering what pulled the chain. I thought the chain was, like, attached to something really big. But this is like a person. Oh, wait, is it a group of people? There's something behind it here with scale, so maybe not. But I was wondering, what on earth is getting pulled so much that this guy is flying into the air? And you know what?
What?
He's gonna... He is gonna start out that he was a captive. He was a slave that is gonna fight to freedom, and then is gonna be warrior badass. But is that a bit on the nose, Amazon? So they're one of the more prominent, people of color in the show. It was an enslaved person here.
It's fed. I mean, I guess that's the real world injecting into the story,
exactly.
isn't it?
They want this to reflect the real world. So we've got a black character. It's like, well, there's an area of people enslaved. It has to reflect the real world. We've got to make the black people enslaved in Tolkien.
It's a bit racist, isn't it?
Isn't it? I would say it is. But this guy looks like he's fighting back, and so maybe there was a group of enslaved people that were a mix of colours. But I'm just saying, for one of the more prominent people of colour in the show, that he's, bit on the nose, it seems like. We'll see if my prediction is correct, but we'll see.
Chili big.
So he was going to stab someone with a twig?
A sharp, pointy stick.
Sharpened stick? Hey, well, it might work. If it's a strong enough piece of wood, They're known
for splinters, they'll just bleed out.
Yeah, but, they're known for penetrating things, so...
Chili big.
Yeah, look, this is very much... It looks like a slave pit and is fighting free. So this is like a different context one. So it cuts... So what's this guy? In relation to what we saw here, cuts to a random thing of guy throwing a rug, and there's the half-foots in the background. Is this the wizard? Is this because now this is a guy with a beard and robe with the half-foots, and we just saw the half-foot was the one that met the person in the the crater. So it might not be Sauron. This could be. They need wizards, even though wizards weren't supposed to be.
Young Gandalf, even though it's not canon.
It's Lord of the Rings, or it's supposed to be Lord of the Rings,
loosely based.
So we've got to have hobbits. We've got to have wizards. Oh, gosh, what else are they going to force into it because they think it's sad? We ought to make him feel like a Lord of the Rings people.
Or just have Gollum in there for some reason.
Yeah, it's going to be a Gollum-like character somewhere. One of the half-woods is just going to go... They're going to say precious something like, you're very precious to me. And so later on, my precious. Holy, imagine, we should not be correct about that, but if we are, oh my goodness... I'm going to be clipping back to this just because it would be depressingly bad if we're right. I hope we're not. So random guy throwing a rug, and then back to enslaved person of colour elf trying to break free and failing and falling back. And so see what he's wearing? That weird scaly thing is being enslaved by goblins. Though that looks like I don't know, maybe they've thrown him back or something. Because they're wearing the same thing as what this goblin guy is wearing. Big explosion? Out of context explosion? Going back.
Oh, surely big.
Yeah, explosion.
Big sound wave type thing.
Yeah. It's like, is it when the comet landed, it sent a shockwave all across Middle Earth? I don't know. Galadriel!
She felt it.
Oh, yeah. She's got the sword on her back. Look, I would almost be ready to criticise that they're using a backscatter without a proper sheath, but it looks like it's just slung over the shoulder. Just for more ease of carry. Yeah, there's a strap going down, not on the side, it's not on the side. So we'll see, though. If she just grabs and draws it with a sheath like that, I'll be triggered. So flaming, Like, oh my goodness. Just, it looks awful. It looks like, I don't know. In isolation, wouldn't care. But have you noticed a bit of a trend that they make, like, albino characters evil quite a lot?
Yeah.
Like, what about that guy in, it was the sequel to the Da Vinci Code? No, it was the Da Vinci Code. I forget what, you know, the like, they got, like, the albino monk guy?
Yeah.
And there's actually a bit of a trend of making albino-looking characters evil. Why? Why are you vilifying albinos? Stop it.
They hate gingers. They're attacking albinos. Like, just leave them alone. Please.
He is summoning something. He blew ash from his hair. Magic ash.
Many lies.
Oh, yeah. So, look. See what those are? Veins of mithril.
You have been told many lies.
He even... Oh, that's his voice. That's the guy's voice. Yeah. You have been told many lies. And he sounds like the guy from the Da Vinci Code. It's like stereotypical bad guy voice. Though I like the actor in the Da Vinci Code, and he sold it a lot better.
Of Middle Earth.
Lies of Middle Earth. Right? Remember, Barry. Remember how I was saying they were forcing in everything?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the ending tease, that another thing they had to force in because Lord of the Rings, guys! Even though Durin's Bane was supposed to happen later, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. So, like, is he dead? Like, is he just gonna die? Look at those... Are they burrow right? So, in The Hobbit, not The Hobbit, the first Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the Hobbits kind of get captured by burrow wights, I think. So basically undead in these burrows and things. I forget who rescues them. Might have been Strider, I think. I can't remember. It's been ages since I read it. But they were cut from the film, you know. They only have so much time. But that's actually where they got their swords originally.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other hobbits, not Sting, but the other hobbits got their swords from the burrow, but they were actual daggers, but they were sword size for them.
Yep.
We hate you, Prime. It's weird. It was weird though. Sometimes Prime actually comes out with something half decent when they're not corrupted by their agenda. Like Reacher, and what's the other one with the Chris guy?
Terminalist.
Terminalist.
Yep.
So Reacher, Terminalist. Invincible had woke crap in it, not overpowering, and I liked Invincible, but. But then Prime also gave us Wheel of Time. You remember the Balrog, right?
Rawr.
You remember just forcing in things because, like...
They got to use, their license properly. They spent how much millions of dollars on this franchise alone? They got to use every little bit they can, even if it makes no sense in terms of canon.
Like, we don't have the talent or competence to be able to make something memorable of our own regard with new, impactful, amazing scenes. We just got to hook you in with all these other member berries because we know our show is crap, and so it's the only thing we can sell it on. Because when we use our own talent, we end up showing scenes that are nonsensical, like the helmet pile or the sword torch thing. All right, yeah. I would say overall better than the teasers. Still not good. And don't let them fool you either, because it is just as political as before. We also saw signs in the trailer as well.
Yeah, all these teasers going up to it have been very political and awfully made. Just because this one trailer's good doesn't mean that we should ignore everything else that's come out of it.
I would say this trailer's better. I wouldn't call it good.
It's better. It's because this one's better.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you should ignore.
The bar is so low.
Everything else they've put out since. Like, I'll never forget that Rings of Power fan trailer. When they all go and they're like, wow, it was so great.
Oh, yeah.
That was...
Unbelievable.
Don't forget that going into this. That was their marketing.
Yeah. That's who they're marketing it for. People that were just like, it's got diversity, therefore it's good. This is what's frustrating, right? They got away with it with Wheel of Time. They think they won with Wheel of Time, even though barely anyone watched it, and it is more largely regarded as an absolute trash crap written series. People have looked at it who do not get annoyed by the woke propaganda in it and just, is it a well-written show? And it's not. It's crap. And then it has all the political bullcrap that they forced into it and the insult to the original material. But because there are so many people that love it just because of the politics, like, it's got representation, hey, lesbian, I'm a lesbian, yay, and all that stuff, right? When that should be neutral. Like, that does not improve but it actually makes it worse if you like the book series, because they're changing characters who are canonically straight to be lesbians just for political reasons. It doesn't make the show better, it shouldn't necessarily make the show worse, but when it subverts stuff, it insults the original source material. But people love it because of that. And these, like, ideologically possessed people, right? They will love crap so long as it gives their representation. Yep. And so they are ardently defending the show as this gift from God, basically. And Amazon thinks that's a win, as evident by their green lighting season 3, when they are just showing their bias and incompetence on display for the world to see, and we will point it out as we are doing right here, because, as you know, you must always stay watchful.